Well, today I'm going to review Ring of Honor, MLW, NXT UK 205 Live, and New Japan Strong on this episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling from AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. So let's get started with some things. Now, this review is not exactly, it's kind of a review because there were several events I was unable to see because of it. It's more like of their greatest hits type of event. One has already been revealed. That one was the Pure Championship Finals. If you recall, I reviewed that one. That was a really good match between Jonathan Gresham, the Octopus, versus Tracy Williams. This one was for who wins the Pure Championship, which is like pure wrestling, more like catch wrestling type of style. So I don't need to review that one. But however, there were other events that they posted out. I don't know what's going on with Ring of Honor. They haven't done any new content. I'm assuming due to the whole thing, what's going on with the pandemic, they had to change a little bit of what's going on, or everybody's taking a break. However, it goes out. But however, it wouldn't hurt to watch new content. So let's see what they put out. One came from Free Enterprise where there was a battle royale. Basically, a lot of the ROH talent was there. They even had some surprise talent. There was Gangrel, Blue Meanie. It was a very, but the one best part that happened is this is when La Facción Ingobernable was starting out. Kenny King, who's in the battle royale, he was like happy he's there. All of a sudden, the music from what's his name from Dragon King just no Dragon Lee. Now he was questioning why is he here, so he was well aware. Dragon Lee was nowhere to be found. He's not there. But there was several ways this whole thing match was going. Like we have Josh Woods and Silas Young. They're trying to be the ones to make sure they're the last ones. So one of them get to go and face the ROH World Champion Rush, and of course there's Kenny King. But however, certain things have changed. There was one female wrestler in the battle royale actually, but apparently she was taken out. All thanks to Bully Ray. I know Bully Ray was dealing with this female wrestler. I forgot her name, but it was a good story, and I don't know what's gonna happen to that. I heard that Bully's no longer with Ring of Honor or something, but we'll see. But however, the way it ended, Kenny King thought he won the match, but however, it was in fact Dragon Lee. Now, this is where it gets interesting. He got Kenny Lee was thrown out of the ring by Dragon Lee, but it turned out it wasn't Dragon Lee whatsoever. It was none other than Flip Gordon. So basically, Kenny King was right. Something was off. He knew that there was no way Dragon Lee would have entered in the battle royale. So Flip Gordon stole one, and was going to face Rush for the ROH title. However, this is still in the process of happening. Flip does have an opportunity for that, but the real question is, when will that happen? Well, we don't know. So I know Flip was one of the he did had his recent match against Jonathan Gresham for the Pure Championship, and he lost that match. But I don't know if he will make a stand for the gold, and we'll see what happens. Now, the next event, this one is from Gateway to Honor. This one was for the World Championship between Mark Haskins, Rush, and then PCO. If you all recall, Rush lost the world title to PCO in a match, and all of a sudden, this is one of those matches where Rush is trying to regain it. Now, the match was pretty good, but mostly it was focusing on PCO and Rush because it's like more like Rush had some unfinished business with PCO. Now, however, PCO lost the match all thanks to the interference of Nick Aldis. Now, if you guys don't recall, this is before the whole thing pandemic happened. Nick Aldis began a feud with Marty Scurll where Nick felt he was disrespected, what Marty was doing, trying to challenge him for the Ring of Honor World title. So he decided to get a little payback against one of his guys, PCO, and that's what really happened. Basically, he cost him the title. So it ends like that. But there haven't been right now. There haven't thrown any more show. I don't know exactly how it's next week gonna be like, but we'll see. Hopefully they get back and do more wrestling show. More. I know they had to do the no fans, but we'll see where they're gonna go from there. So let's move on to MLW. All right, so this is Major League Wrestling's latest MLW fusion, but however, this event was produced by none other than Salina de la Renta. Now, as you know, Salina de la Renta has been coming for some payback after recent news. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm referring to, this is how it goes. For a while, Contra Unit has been attacking MLW, but no one knows how were they getting in. Conan revealed months ago it was Salina de la Renta because he obtained her phone containing that she's been in contact with them. So basically, MLW suspended her producing license, and now she wanted revenge and try to get back on track what she needed to do. However, she was controlling the whole thing. Now, the first match was in fact um, this guy I'd never heard of, Heavy or Harris, I don't know. My writing's messed up. Versus Loki. Now, this one was a standard squash match because it only took 5-6 seconds for Loki to take him down like that. He just Bud took off his shirt. Loki came right at him and took him out that quick. So that's a good record. So Loki won the match. As you know, Leo Rush is the most happiest dude ever, knowing that he beat Myron Reed for the MLW Middleweight Championship. So the real question is, who will be the next participant to face him? I'm kind of curious to see where they're gonna go with it. Now, as you know, there's been the feud between Mads Kruger and Alex Hammerstone. This time it was for the National Openweight Championship. The match was called off due to the fact that they were still fighting each other. Mads Kruger believes that there's fear in Alex, that he's afraid of him. But, however, in the other and later on in the entire episode, it was revealed Alex Hammerstone is not afraid of him. He's afraid that he's not going to, succeed in maintaining the national openweight title. But however, he still has his sights for the MLW World Title. He wants to get a piece of Jacob Fatu, but however, the following week he will be getting Fatu will be going after ACH. Now, the next match were expecting, we had Brian Pillman Jr. versus the debut of Mil Muertes. Now, if you guys aren't familiarized with Mil Muertes, if you guys have seen Lucha Underground, you know what that means. He came back from the dead. Basically, Salina de la Renta used them to get her revenge on those that wronged her, including the MLW officials, for trying to take away her producing license. But she did hinted that something happened to Conan. As you know, Conan and Salina de la Renta have been going back and forth. Salina claims that she's the reason a lot of Hispanic wrestlers were coming because of her. But Conan saying, I was the first one who brought them here, not you. So they've been going back and forth with this feud. But however, we don't know what happened to him. We'll see what happens in the following week. Now, later on throughout CERM, there was pretty much a lot of segment. Well, in this match with Brian Pillman with Mil Muertes, Brian Pillman tried to avoid him as much as possible, tried to think of a way to win, but come on, Mil Muertes, he'll eat you alive. That's how it ended. So he won the match. Now, Injustice had a message to Contra Unit. Now, Myron Reed is still consistent in trying to regain what he lost, but however, their main focus is getting justice for what Contra Unit did to them last week. As you know, in Kings of Colosseum, Myron Reed was giving a statement about how he will regain the title, but however, they were viciously attacked by Contra Unit with Jacob Fatu and Simon Gotch and their newest soldier, Davari. So this feud is far from over with them. Now, as soon as Salina de la Renta was happy how the show was going, apparently she got some unexpected news. Her little brand called Promociones Dorada or the Golden Promotions was sold. She was not a happy camper. I'm trying to guess who could have done that. I can think either Conan or someone who despises her. Either or. Now we get to the main event, which is the MLW World Tag Team titles between Los Park, LA Park, and his son Hijo de LA Park versus the Von Erichs with special guest Tom Lawler. As you know, the Los Parks have been threatening to leave MLW if they did not grant them an opportunity of the tag team titles. And Salina de la Renta came up with the perfect deal. So she had her own insurance policy, which is the one person that the hates the Von Erichs, which is Tom Lawler. Now you can assume in this match where Tom Lawler was avoiding certain things, trying to ensure that the Von Erichs lose their titles, and that's what happened. There's been many occasions where it seemed it was going to go their way, but however, Tom Lawler was avoiding the fact that that the Los Sparks were using weapons and all that, and it kind of went into a sick dement way where Salina got what she wanted. She is now getting back on track with her promotion style, but however, we don't know what will happen. Does the Von Erichs will get a rematch clause, or they will get the rematch clause, and of course, Salina de la Renta will walk away, maintaining that because now there's apparently everybody's coming left and right to uh, try to make MLW in their own versions. We got Tom Lawler's the Team Filthy, Salina de la Renta, and of course Contra Unit. But we'll see where they're gonna go. So I can't wait to see what's gonna happen next week, and I'll be watching. So let's move on with NXT UK and 205 Live. All right, so we're doing two WWE events right now. We got NXT UK and 205 Live. So let's start with 205 Live. We had the opener, Joe Coffey against a guy who was originally his name was Ed Harvey, but during the match he decided he's going to go by his name Sean Samuels. Now, I don't know why they decided to go in that type of way. Now, we do know when it comes to WWE over time, we know that certain wrestlers were asked to change their names. Like, for example, Isaiah Swerve Scott. He was known as in independent scenes as Shane Strickland, or but he was also dubbed as the King of Swerve. I don't know why they decided to give him that name. And of course, there's Damian Priest, who was known as Punishment Martinez. Who else can I think of who had different names? Who had a different name? Drake Maverick is one of them. I know he was known as Stud Rockstar or something like that. Not sure. Well, there's been many ways like that, but the match was pretty good. It kind of showed this guy, Samuels, like he was determined to beat Joe Coffey, who is determined right now to get back on a horse to uh, obtain the one title that he needs, which is the NXT UK title that he lost to Walter last year, or was it 2 years ago? No, 2 years ago at Blackpool. So that is pretty sick. And Joe Coffey came on top, proving that he is still, the kingdom is still his. Now, the NXT UK tag team titles has been the talk in many weeks. There has been many tag teams who want a shot against Gallus. They want a piece of them. They already made that perfectly clear. The Hunt already had their chance with them, but they lost thanks to Andrew and Webster. Pretty deadly things. The Gallus is scared of them, but they're not. They just don't think they have what it takes to beat them. However, Sid Scalia, the assistant general manager, was in fact ready to make the announcement regarding them. But of course, he was interrupted by none other than Pretty Deadly, who demanded a shot of the tag team titles. But however, Sid Scalia and Johnny Singh came up with the perfect solution. Who will be the lucky contenders to face Gallus? So they set up a four-way elimination chamber for the number one contendership for the NXT UK tag team title. So Pretty Deadly is obvious one of them, but the other participants are The Hunt, uh, Carter and Oliver, and of course Flash Morgan and Andrew, uh, Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews. Now, in every segment, they talk about how they're excited. The Hunt, they know they have one group of people that stand in their way, which is Andrews and Webster, but they are in a hunt for those titles. So basically, they know now that this is bigger at stake. They are in an opportunity in line to obtain the NXT UK tag team titles. Then we see a little earlier segment that came from Dave Mastiff and Rampage Brown. As you know, Dave Mastiff had some dealings with Saxon Huxley, who was deranged. As you know, he did face Rampage Brown. He lost to him, and people made fun of him that, oh, he was an idiot for going up in his face. Dave Mastiff taught him a lesson, and then, of course, they made up a deal. Why not have a match with each other? So that might happen next week. Now, the next match, this one was between Tyler Bate and Sam Gradwell. As you know, Tyler Bate is trying to reinvent himself after losing to A Kid. As you know, it was more of the mentor versus the student. It was a great match, but however, Tyler Bate feels he's still a student in the game, so he has to learn from what can work and what. And this match kind of did help him. That, as you know, Sam Gradwell is new at this. He's trying to act like he thinks he's all that, but however, when it comes to Tyler Bate, he has no chance whatsoever. So, Tyler Bate actually won this match. Now, for the first time ever, we're seeing Ilya Dragunov being a different kind of person. He hasn't been himself ever since he lost to Walter, so he asked another competitor named Stars, I forgot his first name, to be his opponent, to help him get him out of his funk, like trying to get him be more of a new version of himself. So basically, he accepted the challenge. Now let's talk about the recent what's going on with the NXT UK Women's Championship. As you know, Ginny has been declared the number one contender, and accompanying her is Joseph Connors. Now she thinks that money can buy her everything and all this and that. But however, Kylie King doesn't believe that. Kylie K has always worked hard to obtain that title. I mean, she is the longest reigning NXT UK Women's Champion ever. But however, Jenny believes in her own state of mind and her own vision that sooner or later that title will go to the real queen. Is her, in fact, herself, Ginny. Kylie King believes that Ginny doesn't have what it takes, that she's not materialized to be a women's champion. But Ginny begs to differ. But we'll see what happens. That match is going to take place next week. Now, the main event, this is for the NXT UK Championship between A Kid, who won the Heritage Cup tournament, and Walter. Now, A Kid called him out saying that he would want to challenge him for the title. But however, Walter has a different state of mind. He thinks that he's an embarrassment to the Heritage Cup. Walter has a different purview on how wrestlers should be. He always has that phrase, respect the mat. The mat is sacred. So basically, everybody had to deal with that because they think they're better than everyone. They think that their wrestling is so pure that it makes them invincible. Look at Imperium. They attacked Breezango thinking, you guys need to stop with this fun and games. You guys are an embarrassment to the mat. That's always been like that. So, but the match was so good between A Kid and Walter. I was so impressed. I was like, wow. But the real question is, can A Kid actually win the match? The answer to that is no. But however, to note to this, Walter is now on the peak of breaking the record, the Pete Dunne record. Pete Dunne is the longest reigning United Kingdom champion. But however, Walter is getting closer and closer and closer to break the record. If he does it, then he is the far superior wrestler in the NXT UK brand. Now let's jump into 205 Live. Now, the two matches that they have in this one was the continuation of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classics. So it was still in the first round. First match, we had Legado del Fantasma, Bravo Mendoza and Joaquin Wild versus Bollywood Boys. Now, I kind of figured in a way how this is going to end. Not because I say so. Legado Fantasma always try to prove that they are dominant, that no one can touch them, that this year will be their year to dominate the NXT UK brand, which they are look like they're on the verge, but however they have to get through the Bollywood Boys. Bollywood Boys really impressed me a lot with this, with what they were doing, trying to ensure they can win. They are trying to pick up a good victory. But however, it's too much for them to handle with guys like Legado. But I did look up a very interesting match. Apparently, they're gonna Imperium is amongst the bracket that will be in the same line. Now, I envision that in one of them, Imperium's gonna beat their opponents, and they're gonna have to face Legado Fantasma. And in my opinion, they're not gonna make it past Imperium. That's how I would see it. Now, you think it's wishful thinking to me? No, I looked at the brackets. I'm like, okay, then who will be the next ones in the same bracket as them? I'm like, oh, I see Imperium. They most likely could win that match. So we'll see. Don't count your chickens just yet. Now, the next match for the Dusty Rhodes Classic, we have Kurt Stallion and August Gray taking on the unlikely offbeat tag team, Killian Dane and Drake Maverick. This match was so good. I enjoyed it a lot because, like I said, they're the most odd duo ever. And you don't know what to expect, but it happened. I was like laughing. I enjoyed it. I was like, I mean, Killian Dane was using it as a weapon. He even Drake Maverick asked him do a tope suicide. He didn't do that. So I thought it was so great with the whole dynamic between Drake Maverick and Killian Dane. But my biggest surprise was them winning the match. Now, I'm gonna say this. I vote them as the wild card team that may or may not win the entire tournament. Just watch. You'll see what I mean. So, so I think that's it right now for this for WWE. So let's move on to New Japan Strong. Okie dokie. So we got for New Japan Strong continuation of Road to Lions Break Contender. First match was Barrett Brown, who we haven't seen for quite some time, versus the Mexican luchador sensation Misterioso. Now, this match was so interesting to watch. Now, I'm a fan of Misterioso since watching him. I mean, come on, the dude is great. But Barrett Brown had to go back to the drawing board from what they're saying in the commentary, that he has to reinvent himself, see what new tricks he brought up. Now, he seems like he did in certain ways, but it was a hard film match because I didn't know what to expect when it comes to them. I was like, wow. But it was a good match. But however, it didn't go exactly to Barrett Brown's plan. So it ended winning with um, Mysterioso winning. Now, the next thing we have is Kelly talking to Fred Rouser. Now, we all know Fred Rouser's history. We know him as Darren Black, but there are others that recall they made reference that he looks like John Cena, or should I say the black version of him. But he's talking about himself. How did he reinvent himself? and all that. I mean, come on. The dude, he can wrestle. I can understand. If you guys know this, he even tried to sign up with WWE, but they weren't interested. Now, I don't know why, but I feel they could have used him because WWE didn't give him much of a chance. And I feel like they should have done that, but maybe they had a different purview of him. I'm not 100% sure. Now, the next match, we had a very interesting match, Adrian Quest versus TJP. Big fan of TJP. I love his style. I love what he can do. I'm like, wow. But this match was amazing between two great competitors, also expert high flyers. You look at Adrian Quest, he could be the next TJP the way I see it in my purview. But however, does the young guy has what it takes to take on a veteran like TJP? The real question is that you were close. You were close, Adrian. So the real question, does he have what it takes to get to the top? We just gotta wait and see when that day happens. Now, that was the comments, and in fact, TJB said about Adrian Quest. He was close, but he's still better. He said that he could be far more better than him, but of course, it's a guy like TJP who advances. So that's the whole thing. Now we get to the main event, which is a six-man tag team match. We have Bullet Club members Kenta, El Fantasma, and um, the young gun Hakileo versus Fred Rouser, ACH, and Blake Christian. Now, this match, you can assume how this is going to play out. You know who Bullet Club is. You know what they're capable of. You know their tricks, what they can do to win a match. You got Kenta, who he thinks he is the top dog, that he thinks he can win, but he uses whatever it takes to win, even if he has to use some tools. You got El Fantasma, the most controversial member of Bullet Club. He doesn't play by anybody's rules. He thinks he's the badass. And then there's Hakileo, who's a very tall dude that you know he's going to chokeslam you. But it was a really good match. But however, tactics with the Bullet Club always works in their it always has. But what I like about this is Fred Rouser, he wants a piece of Hakileo. I'm like, whoa, please, 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 New Japan, give me that match. I would love to see Fred Rouser taking on Hakileo. But this one was a six-man tag team match. But, as I said, it was Bullet Club who tactics that work. So they won the match. But please, New Japan, book Hakileo versus Fred Rouser. That would be a good match. I guarantee you people will go nuts for it. So, ending with that. So, I will be back for new content to review. As you know, I'm a little behind with the Ohio Valley Wrestling, which is OVW. But I also got two shows of Dragon Gate, Tokyo Yoshi Pro, and DDT. However, there's other events from DDT that came about. And of course, another Japanese promotion that I heard of. This one's a little different. It's called Big Japan Pro Wrestling. I know what you're thinking. New Japan, All Japan, Big Japan. You must think, what the hell is Big Japan Pro Wrestling? It's not the fact it's big dudes. These guys do something different. Now, I will talk about them in due time. So be patient. I'll get back to you on that. But for now, I must bid all of you guys adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.